Oh, you right?
Yeah, very well. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. We're not enrolled yet, yeah?
No, right. Okay.
Yeah, so, what would you like to cover today?
Yeah, what would you like to cover today, Tony?
No, we're not enrolled.
No,
no,
right, sorry.
it's me asking what you'd like to cover.
It's pedestrian crossings that we're going to be doing.
Right, and what level do you want me to cover them at?
It's partly trained.
Partly trained.
Yeah.
Right, so because I'm covering them, I'm partly trained. I'll be driving similar to the you've taken pupils out that are partly trained. So I might not be up to the speed limit at the speed limit of somebody who's trained here.
Okay.
Right. So I will keep it kind of reasonably at the same level.
Yeah. Okay.
As what a partly trained learner would drive here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do pedestrian crossings, partly trained. I will come in and out of roll.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I will actually tell you when I'm out of roll.
Yeah.
Do you want me to put any errors in off subject, or do you just want me to stick to putting errors in that are on subject?
We'll keep it realistic, I think, and you could put in the odd error that's off subject, because
Okay.
they will have to be dealt with. I mean, a partly trained driver will make errors, and so they will have to be dealt with.
That's fair enough.
So let's make it as realistic as possible.
Do you want me to, at any point, put you in a position where you may have to take physical action, like using the duals or grabbing the steering wheel?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think I can cope with that.
Right. So we've had lessons before, so you know that I'm only ever going to do that if there's no other road user involved. Yeah.
Yes.
So if there's anybody behind us, or anybody coming towards us, or anybody sitting in a parked car, or any pedestrians very nearby, I won't put you in a position where you're going to have to use the duals or grab the steering wheel.
Yeah. Okay.
Because obviously I'm a full license holder, and it's role play, so therefore we're not going to endanger anybody just for role play.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So all I'd ask you to do is that if you are going to use the duals, have a look in there. If there is somebody behind you, it's not an error that I'm putting in.
No.
So please don't go jumping on the brake.
No. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Right, so do you feel happy enough going into the role?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Right.
I just want you to imagine that we are carrying somebody in the back today.
Okay.
Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go on the roll then.
Yeah. Right.
Partly trained pedestrian crossings.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay, Tony. So last week we said that this week we were going to look at pedestrian crossings. Are you still happy to do
I am,
that?
yeah. You showed me some pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
Diagrams and that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we did go through a brief.
Yeah.
So what do you know about pedestrian crossings already?
I remember some of the pictures you showed me.
Yeah.
I think you said controlled and uncontrolled.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So what's the difference between the two?
Uncontrolled don't have any traffic lights on them. Controlled ones do.
Yeah. Okay. So how would you identify an uncontrolled crossing?
I could identify from the picture, but I notice when we're out driving, I tend to miss them. I don't see them.
You do. Right. Okay. What about the orange beacons that are on those black and white posts?
Yeah, I have all this inside my head when I'm sitting here,
Yeah.
but when I get moving, I just tend to be thinking about everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what we need to be doing as we're driving along the road is actively looking out for things like that, for traffic lights and for those beacons. So how else can we identify a crossing of any type?
I don't think I look as far ahead as you do.
Yeah. Well, what we need to be doing as we're going along the road is scanning up and down as much as possible, looking as far ahead as we possibly can all the time.
Right.
So crossings of all sorts, they all have those zigzag lines on either side, don't they? So we can be looking out for those as
Do
well
they?
on the road. They do, yes, yeah. So what do those zigzag lines mean?
Something about you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah, what is
Right,
it?
so I'll just come out a roll a minute.
Yeah,
Identification is probably going to be the biggest problem for a pupil.
yeah,
Yeah. What would have been good is that you could have actually dug a bit deeper and found out, as my experience as a pedestrian, because I have crossed the road before on my own.
yeah,
Have I ever used pedestrian crossings?
yeah, right, okay,
So do you want to have a try at that?
yeah,
So,
okay.
so I'll go back
yeah.
in the road, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So Tony, you've used pedestrian crossings before as a pedestrian, haven't you?
I have. How did you know
Yeah.
that?
Well, most people have,
Oh, right.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what sort of pedestrian crossings have you used?
I don't go much on the names because
Right.
I never think they're
Okay.
important. But I know that I've come up to some where there's no button to press. I have to stand there
Yeah.
and have to wait for all the traffic to stop
You do.
and then
yeah.
I cross. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've come up to other ones where, because I like pressing buttons. I've
Yeah.
come up to other ones where either I have to press the button, or if somebody's there before me, they've actually pressed the button.
Yes.
And I saw two signs. I saw two different signs.
Mm.
I saw one with a wait sign on there,
Yeah.
and another one I saw that I used the other day. I saw a red man, and when I pressed the button, a light came on, a red light came on,
Yeah.
and then a few seconds later the green man came on,
Yes.
and we all crossed.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, the first ones that you described there is the zebra crossing. It's an uncontrolled crossing,
yeah.
so there's no lights there. So, and those are the ones with the beacons, the orange beacons that are flash,
Yeah.
and they're mounted on those poles that are painted in black and white stripes. Those are the uncontrolled ones. And as you say, yes, you do have to wait by the side of the road until the vehicles stop for you. Then you can cross. The other ones that you've mentioned, the ones where you press a button, those are all controlled ones, and so they're all the flow of traffic is controlled by a traffic light system.
Oh, right.
As well.
Yeah.
So you have to press the button, and you have to wait until you get your green man or your signal to cross, and at the same time all the vehicles will stop there as well. So those are the controlled ones.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I seem to learn more from doing than reading about it or watching I watched a couple of them videos you pointed me towards.
Yeah.
I seem to learn better when we done Crossroads last week, didn't we?
You did, yes.
When I was doing Crossroads last week, I learned a lot more by doing them.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I think most people do learn by doing. On the crossroads last week,
Yeah.
we picked up some skills there that are transferable to what we're going to be learning with pedestrian crossings. So, with as you come up to a crossroads, for example, what do you do? What's the procedure for approaching the?
It depends on whether I'm on the main road or the minor road.
Yeah, let's say you're on coming along on the main road.
Yeah.
How do you what's the procedure for approaching those?
You said look for a road on the right and look for a road on the left, and you said they might not be directly opposite each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you said check the mirror
Yes.
to see how close people were behind me,
Yeah.
and then to scan through the windscreen to see if anybody's pulling out in front of me.
Yeah. Well, the approach to a zebra crossing is very similar in that as soon as you identify the crossing of any sort, you check your mirror to see how close the people are to you, and then you scan the area ahead for any pedestrians who may be about to cross. So those skills are very similar, really.
Yeah.
So you've already learnt some of those skills. Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay then. So as you say that you learn by doing, shall we go off in search of some pedestrian crossings?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So how would you rate yourself at the moment? Your confidence on a scale of 1 to 10 with pedestrian crossings. How would you rate
I'm
yourself?
down around about a 2 at the moment.
Just a 2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what would be your aim for today then?
It might not be possible, but I'd like to be able to do pedestrian crossings with little or no help from you by the end of the lesson.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's a good aim to thing to aim for. So initially, as we go out, what sort of help would you like from me?
Well, you said I've got to do the mirrors and the scanning like I done at the crossroads last week.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I could probably do that on my own,
Yes.
but if you can just watch me,
I will.
because I did miss a few last week as well,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Right. Okay.
It's identifying the crossings and what all the different markings and lights mean.
Yes.
If you could help me with that.
Right, I certainly will do.
Yeah.
So I'll do that bit.
Yeah.
And you do your mirrors and your scanning. So that's how we'll divide the responsibilities.
Yeah, keep an eye on me though, yeah?
Yeah, okay, I certainly will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be watching you all the time,
All right.
as I normally do. So as we're going along the road, as usual, I expect you to drive as carefully and responsibly as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I expect you to be aware of other road users and to control the car. But I have got the ability to take control of the car, either with the pedals or I can grab hold of the steering wheel. But I'll only do that if we're in the situation that you're not dealing with yourself.
All right.
And if that does happen, then we'll take a bit of time to discuss what happened so that you know for next time.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right, good. Okay
Yeah.
then. Right. Okay, would you like to, when you're ready, move off? Have you got any questions?
There's a
at
man
all?
sitting in the back. What's he
Yeah,
doing there?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh well, he's. Don't worry about him. He's just watching me. Let's make sure.
I wasn't worried about him. I just wondered what he was doing there.
Yeah, yeah. He's just watching me today,
Oh.
just to make sure that I'm doing everything that I should be.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because there's someone else in the back of the car, a little bit of extra weight. How do you think that will affect you as a driver?
Right, so let's just come out of roll a minute. If you think about it logically, in a modern day car,
Yeah.
one person sitting in the back
Yeah.
is probably going to be negligible unless they weigh about 25 stone, yeah?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Um,
So I need to think about after you've passed your test, really,
Yeah,
won't I?
yeah.
Need to be talking about that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Right.
So back in row.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Tony, there's only one person sitting in the back today, but after your test, after you've passed your test, which you will do very soon, I'm sure, you will probably be giving lifts to a lot of people, won't you?
Oh,
you
yeah.
Maybe
yeah,
driving
I
a
owe
car.
loads of favours, yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'll have 3 in the back of my little 15-year-old Corsa, and
Yeah.
1 in the front.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's quite. That
Yeah.
would be quite a lot of extra weight in the car. So as a driver, how do you think that would affect you?
I have driven my little Corsa. One of my friends sat beside me the other day, and it doesn't have the power of this car. So I'm probably thinking with a bit of weight in it, I'm gonna have to use more gas. And I noticed the brakes are not as good as yours.
No.
So I think I may have to brake earlier,
Yes.
especially extra weight.
Yeah.
And going around corners, it's a little bit wobbly. So I'll probably go around corners a little bit slower,
Yes.
especially extra
Yeah.
weight in the back. Yeah.
Yes, I would. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. It's always good to think about how the car is going to
Yeah.
perform under those sort of conditions. Yeah. Right. Okay then, Tony. Have you got any questions at all before we go?
Do I have to look around to make sure that everybody's got seatbelts on and all that?
You do. You always have to do that. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man in the back has.
Yeah. That's good.
And
Yeah.
he's got his headrest thingy adjusted.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's got a
Okay.
headrest, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. There is a headrest there. So
It's called a headrest, isn't it?
yeah, no, it's actually called a head restraint.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So why is that then, Tony? Why is it called a head restraint and not a headrest?
I think it's to stop you claiming £2,000 whiplash money, innit?
That could be one reason.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, it could.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it meant to be adjusted then? Do you know how it's meant?
Oh, yeah, you showed me that in the first lesson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Get the hardest part of the headrest in line with my eyes and my ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So it's a very important thing to do.
Yeah.
To restrain your head. Right. Okay then, Tony. Well, when you're ready, shall we
Yeah.
move away and find some pedestrian crossings?
Right, we're going to turn left out of the car park.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Right, Tony. Can we turn left out of the car park, please?
Do I have to worry about him coming down the pavement?
Well, you do. Yes. Well,
Yeah, but my entrance is a drop curb.
No, stop.
I have to stop,
Left
do I?
and You do, yes, because
Oh.
you're going across a pavement.
Oh,
You
right.
see, and he's got priority on the pavement.
Look, I asked that, wasn't it?
Yeah, good mirrors, Tony. It's always good.
Turning left.
Yeah, at the end of the road, could you turn left?
Oh, she didn't use the crossing.
No, pedestrians often don't. It's a good idea too if there is one available. But you really have to watch out for pedestrians crossing at any point.
Oh, stop.
Oh, Tony, which gear are you in? Which gear are you in?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Right, so Tony, why is it always important to be in the right gear when you're setting off?
Because it's bloody embarrassing when you stall.
It is. And what's the safety implication of that?
I remember I stalled on one of my early lessons and the car behind they'd run in the back of me.
Yeah, that could happen. So would you like me to give you a prompt with that?
Would you
in
mind?
future? Yes, I will do. Yeah.
Because if any of my mates are around, they'd be laughing at me.
Yeah. So which gear are you going to be in?
Oh,
So-
first.
Yeah.
Is it best to get first just before you stop?
Yes, it is. You know, we were talking about the rolling first.
Oh, that way you
So-
can't forget, yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Good mirrors, Tony, as we pull away. So remind me, why do you look in your near side mirror before pulling away?
I looked in both of them.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah.
Because I ride a bike and I won't sit in traffic.
No.
I'll go down the inside or the outside.
Yeah, that's right. So what would you do if a bike was coming along the inside there as we were moving away?
I wouldn't have moved.
No, that's good. That's good.
You got a good job, haven't you? Just sitting here all day doing nothing
I wouldn't say it's doing nothing.
and getting paid for it. Traffic lights ahead, we're going to be turning left.
At the traffic lights, turn left.
I suppose I could keep that clear, couldn't I?
Yes, it's always good to, but you can clear that now.
So you got a bike nearly coming down the inside there. Ooh. She waved at me.
Yeah, that was very friendly.
Does that mean I pulled?
I don't think so.
No, thanks. For your vote of confidence. It's back to eHarmony then.
Certainly busy here today.
Yeah, I suppose I'm lucky really having my lessons on a Saturday because I work Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
I get to deal with. I get to go out in busy times, don't I?
Yeah.
Because my mate, he's learning to drive and he goes out on a Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Oh right, there's probably
And,
nothing on the road then.
No, he has an easy lesson.
Yeah. Good mirrors, Tony.
Oh, see that bike come up the inside? That's a bike lane, isn't it?
Yeah. Still got to take care.
Oh, bikes don't stop at red lights.
They should do.
I always do.
Yeah.
I always stop at that line there ahead of me.
Yeah.
Maybe he's an undercover police officer.
So while we're waiting here, Tony, you know the all sorts of pedestrian crossings. Can you tell me a couple of things that you must never do at a pedestrian crossing as a legal requirement?
Kill anybody, I should imagine.
Yeah. What does it tell you in the highway code about what you mustn't do at pedestrian crossings?
I'll be honest, George, I was going to do a bit of studying.
Yeah.
But my mate borrowed my highway code and I haven't had it back since.
Yeah. Right, okay. You need to get that back.
Yeah, well, I'll go and buy
soon.
another one.
Yeah, yeah. That's right, yeah. But at zebra crossings, Well, what you mustn't do is to park on those zigzag lines. You should never park on those. Can you think of why it would be dangerous and illegal to park on those zigzag lines?
I can't even remember seeing zigzag lines.
Really? Well,
I remember them in a picture last week. You showed me,
yeah. So why do you think it might be illegal and dangerous to park on those zigzag lines?
I suppose if somebody's coming up behind me, they might not see the crossing.
Yeah, that's right. And anything else?
Not too sure.
Yeah. Well, it means that pedestrians don't have a clear view down the road as well.
Oh, right.
So that's illegal. And there's another thing that it's illegal to do within the zigzag lines. Do you know what that is?
No.
No. We mustn't overtake.
Oh, yes.
Within the zigzag lines.
You mentioned that last week now when you kind of mention it.
Yeah. Now, can you see those flashing beacons ahead of us?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, those are. That's to tell you that there is a zebra crossing there. So what do you need to do?
Oh, check the mirrors.
Yeah. And
scan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just out of roll.
Yeah.
Did I check the mirrors and scan?
Oh, right. Okay.
Back in roll.
Yeah. And ahead of us we can see some flashing beacons there.
Are they the ones on the black and white poles?
Yes, that's right, they are indeed. So what are you going to do?
Check the mirrors.
Well, you need to do it.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and scan up the area.
Yeah, it's clear.
That's a bit long before you go up to them. So,
oh, right.
Yeah. There's no point doing it after you've gone past.
It's through the side windows, isn't it? And turning right.
At the end of the road, turn right, please. No, through the front window as you're approaching the pedestrian crossing.
Oh, similar to what I've done at Crossroads last week.
That's right, yeah.
I'm sure I'm getting the measure.
Yeah. Now, as we take this right turn, you can glance across there now. There is a pedestrian crossing, and that's a controlled pedestrian crossing. And you can see the zigzag lines there clearly. So there aren't any pedestrians around, so it's clear to go straight through. You can see these zigzag lines here, can't you? So it's within the bounds of those zigzag lines that you mustn't park or overtake.
Because they're controlled, you don't need to check the mirrors there or scan.
I would anyway. Yeah, you do need to, just in case they turn greens red. Perhaps if someone's pressed the button and then moved, that could
follow the road straight.
Yeah, can you follow the road straight ahead, please? And what can you see on the other side of the roundabout?
I see beacons.
Yeah.
On black and white poles.
Yeah. So what are you going to do then? Where are you going to look?
Oh, mirrors.
Yeah.
And scan.
Yeah. Right. That's good. Now, if we were in a queue of traffic there, and the queue was going over the pedestrian crossing, would it be okay to stop on the pedestrian crossing?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
If there's nobody using it.
Well, don't you think that would block pedestrians from going across it, just in case you were stopped there for a long time?
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another. Can you see those beacons?
Yeah.
Getting ahead. Yeah. So tell me what you're doing.
Oh, check the mirrors.
Yeah. And
scanning.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So that's another thing you mustn't do. You mustn't ever stop on a crossing. If you're in a queue of traffic and you can't clear it, you've got to hold back. And what can you see ahead of you there?
Not very well. I can see a beacon one side.
Yeah.
Mirrors.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
And we're going to turn left at the lights.
Yeah, at the traffic lights, turn left.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, you certainly can.
You know, if there's a pedestrian standing there,
Hmm.
I have to stop anyway, haven't I?
Yes, you do. Yeah,
So why am I checking the mirrors? Because I've got to stop anyway.
yeah. Well, you need to check the mirrors in plenty of time so that you know how quickly you can stop. You need to know that it's safe to slow down and stop. So you're checking the mirrors to see if there are any vehicles close to you. Now, if you were doing that and there was a vehicle really close to you, what difference would that make to you?
Probably worry me a bit.
Yeah, and can you see the beacons ahead of you?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, so that's as far ahead as you need to be looking, and you need to check your mirrors really early.
Yeah, so what difference checking the mirror makes on me? What can I do?
If there's someone really close behind you, you may want to start braking a little bit earlier and start slowing down a little bit more.
So they slow down a bit more.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Just
we're
to
gonna
give
turn
them at the roundabout, turn right, please. And what can you see as we make this right turn ahead of you?
I see black and white poles with beacons.
Yeah, and what you're doing?
And checking the mirror that car's not too close. Scanning.
Yeah.
Oh, that is zigzag lines.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you mustn't park.
You mustn't park within those zigzag lines. That's right.
And turning left.
Turn left, please.
I'll remember that. Don't park.
Yeah.
That's the only rule, isn't it?
No, there was the overtaking one that I mentioned. I did mention that we mustn't overtake within zigzag lines.
Why can we not overtake?
Because if you overtake, the car that you're overtaking might be slowing down for a pedestrian, and you may not be able to see the pedestrian crossing from left to right. See?
Thought of that. And we're going to turn right.
At the end of the road, turn right, please. Which gear are you in?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's something what he's doing. I've got one of them signs near my house.
Have you? Right. Yeah. What does that tell you then, the sign?
It tells me that my girlfriend's not going to get anywhere to park when she comes home because all the mothers kicking their kids up at school park there.
Right. You're pointing to the hump, a warning sign, were you? What can you see ahead of you?
A building with plastic on top.
Right. Okay. Well, that was actually a light controlled crossing that we went.
Oh, I didn't
So
see
I
it,
should have
sorry.
given you a bit of warning about that a little bit earlier, really.
Roll.
Yeah.
That's called prioritising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have stopped saying what I was saying and started talking about that.
need to worry about schools, do I?
You do, definitely. This is a Saturday, but sometimes schools do have events on, at the weekends occasionally. So always worry about them, definitely.
Schools always have a crossing.
They don't always, no.
Yeah. That's a bit short-sighted, isn't it?
It is really. But very often they'll have those crossings where there's what they call a lollipop lady. So very often outside of those.
Oh, we had a lollipop man when I was at school.
Yeah. Now, what can you see ahead of you on the flashing beacon?
I see black and white holes with a beacon on top.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna look?
Check them out.
Yeah.
Scan.
Yeah. That's good.
And we're going to turn right.
At the roundabout.
Why are they not
right,
using the
please.
crossing?
Well, they could have done, but very often pedestrians. Which gear are you in, Tony? Very often pedestrians won't. They'll cross anywhere, so you've got to be ready for them to walk across the road in front of you at any point, really.
I don't have to stop for them, though, do I?
You certainly do, yes.
Do you?
Yeah. Or if someone is right in front of you, you will have to stop. And you don't want to hit them, do you?
No. And turning right.
At the roundabout, turn right. And what can we already see?
Oh, I see.
Turn right.
Them beacons.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me what you're doing.
Check. Scan.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah, so I've been prompting you with the last few.
I'm going to turn left.
Could you turn left, please? Would you like me to hand that over to you now so that you do that?
Hand what over?
The scanning and the looking in your mirrors, so I'm not prompting you about that. If you could just tell me what you're doing without me having to say, what are you doing now?
Yeah, I seem to be spotting the uncontrolled ones.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. So I'll still prompt you with the controlled ones, because we haven't seen too many of those. But the uncontrolled ones, you seem to be spotting.
I haven't seen any. There must be some around somewhere, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, we'll keep searching for them.
And we're going to turn right.
At the end of the road, turn right, please.
I've got to remember the road in the first gear.
Yeah. What you're going to do as we come up to the rolling first gear, that's it. Zigzag lines on the road. So what you're going to do? See, that was a controlled crossing there. hadn't bothered pressing the button.
How would I know she'd pressed the button? How did you know she hadn't pressed the button?
Oh, well, just because she was standing about 10 feet to this side of the control box.
So there's no way of telling if she's pressed the button.
Oh, if she had pressed the button, you'd have been able to see the light coming on there.
What kind of light would I have seen?
With that one, you would have seen the button lighting up. As you press the button, it would have lit up.
Roll a minute, George.
Yeah.
I haven't got much to do at the moment, have I?
Not a lot, no. But
I'm not exactly being taxed with my driving, am I?
no.
Is that no good chance to fill in blanks?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. So I could.
Back in roll.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two types of controlled crossing.
Is there?
Yeah, there's the old style pelican crossing, which we've still quite a lot of them around, and they have a different traffic light phase to normal traffic lights. You get an amber, a flashing amber instead of the steady red and amber.
Can I just deal with him first? And
Yeah.
roll it out?
Yes. See ahead of you.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the beacons. Scanning.
Yeah, that's good.
And we're going to turn left.
At the roundabout, turn left, please.
Oh, I see another one.
Yeah, good. That's good.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
I have a really hard job multitasking.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So basically, there's two basic types there. There's the pelican crossing, which is being phased out at the moment. They've got an amber, flashing amber. Yeah. At the traffic lights, turn right, please. I'll just wait for you to get round this junction.
Junction on it?
It is, yeah. Okay, Tony, I've just noticed that as you stopped there to take that right turn,
Turning left.
could you take next turning on the left, please?
Can't see it frozen.
Oh, yeah. Tony, I noticed that as we were taking that left turn there, you turned your wheels to the right as we were stationary. Can you think of a reason why that isn't a good idea and why you've got to keep your wheels straight?
Shall I pull over?
Yes, please do.
It's when it's complicated. I have the job talking
Oh,
about
right.
the move.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so as we were waiting there at the traffic lights, you turned your wheels sharply to the right.
I did, yeah.
So why did you do that then?
I get that from watching Formula 1. When they're waiting at the start line, they always turn the wheels in the direction they want to go.
Okay.
Because you get away quicker.
Okay.
So when I get a gap, I get it quicker, don't I?
Well, what might be appropriate on the racetrack isn't necessarily appropriate on the road, and there are two specific problems with doing that on the road. Can you think of what it might possibly be?
I noticed the bloke coming towards me gave me a bit of a funny look.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He probably did, yeah. Why do you think that might have been?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what it was that he had noticed your wheels turned to the right, and he was worried that you were going to come across in front of him.
Oh, is that why? Right.
Yeah. So there's that, but there's another one as well, perhaps more serious as well. What would happen if someone shunted into the back of you? What would happen? Where would we end up?
Oh, that's where I get the £2,000 for the whiplashing.
Well, I don't think you need to worry about that, but where would our car end up if someone ran into the back of us?
Oh, I get you, yeah. I'd go into the flow of oncoming traffic.
Yes.
So not only would I get hit at the rear, but I'd probably hit the car in front.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So you'd have a smart car next week, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's right. It would be a lot shorter, definitely. Yeah. Right, okay. So, two different reasons there why it's not a good idea to have your wheels turned just before you move. So if they were facing straight on and someone ran into the back of you, what would happen then?
I'd still get my £2,000, but I'd go forward.
Yeah. And you wouldn't involve the oncoming traffic in the accident, would you? No, that's right. And drivers of oncoming vehicles wouldn't be worried so much by seeing your wheels turned and thinking, So what we're going to do next time that we turn right at a junction like that?
Hopefully do it better.
Yeah, keep our wheels straight. Yeah, until the point where we're actually moving away and turning. Yeah. Okay then?
Yeah.
So, right. Okay. Well, when you're ready then, Tony, let's...
So, just come out of roll a minute.
Yeah.
It seemed like quite a serious mistake, that one.
Yeah. Right.
Because the way you were putting it across to your pupil was that doom and gloom, which it could be.
Yeah, right.
By me having the wheels turned on approach, I could well have forced the oncoming vehicle, as you say, to maybe think that I'm going to go in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They may have braked. What's the knock-on effect of them braking?
Well, someone could run into the back of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if I get a shunt off the chuff, it's going to push me into the oncoming traffic anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Is there no suggestion there of, that you might want to make?
Oh, right. Yeah. So, Tony, next time we make those right-hand turns, would you like any help with that? Would you like me to prompt you about keeping your wheels straight or anything like that?
How serious was the... I'm still out of roll.
Yeah.
How serious was the mistake?
Well, it was a serious mistake. It was a critical, safety critical, possibly.
Yeah, it's either safety critical or a possible safety critical, yeah?
Yeah.
What do we normally do with them when they crop up?
Well, we suggest changing the lesson plan.
Yeah. Do you think it's really important that you suggest that?
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I was back in Robin.
Yeah. Okay. So, Tony, what will that's quite a serious mistake to make. Perhaps we should change the lesson plan to do right-hand turns and to make sure that doesn't occur again.
I've never done it before, have I?
No, that is the only time.
It was the Formula One was only last Sunday, and I think maybe I was just thinking about that too much. I don't normally do it.
No.
I think it might be a one-off.
Yeah, I think it might be as well. So what we'll do is we'll continue with the current lesson plan of pedestrian crossings, but if that does happen again, then we will be changing the lesson plan.
Okay.
And you must stop watching Formula One as well.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So we paying for Sky Sports, wasn't it? And we're going to turn right.
You take the next turn on the right, please.
Mirrors are not very good today, are they?
No, they are very good.
Are they?
Yeah. Haven't I already complimented you on them today?
Yeah, you normally compliment me loads.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I thought you might get a bit tired of me mentioning.
No,
I'll
it's,
carry on if you like it.
I find it makes me more confident.
Yeah, right, okay.
There was a time he used to give me a lollipop, George. And we're going to turn right.
Take next turning right, please. Yeah, see that? That's very good mirrors there.
Oh, thanks.
And
Roll in it first. I think I've got that
yeah.
now.
Yeah, okay then.
It's a bad angle, this junction, isn't it?
It is really.
You have to do the old peep and creep, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
And we're going to turn left.
Yeah, take next turning on the left, please.
Oh, this is the crossroads we done last week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And once we've made this turn, could you find somewhere to pull up on the left, please, Tony? Which might be difficult.
End of the road, turning right.
At the end of the road, turn
Mirrors.
right, please. Yeah, that's good. And what can you see just round this right-hand corner?
Lights.
Lights, yeah, and
A lot of boxes.
yeah,
You see that top box?
yeah,
I've seen that as I come out of the station. Picture
Yeah.
of a bike. I
Yeah.
use it.
yeah. That's right. What sort of a crossing is that, Tony?
Can I just do with this first?
Yes.
It's really busy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to get it wrong because you shout at me. Oh, I saw a red light come on.
Yeah, that's right. So
What does that mean again?
that means that they've pressed the button.
Oh,
they've
right.
activated the button. Right. Okay, Tony, but I did want to speak to you about those pedestrians that you beckoned across. So whenever
Yeah, it's my next door neighbour.
was it?
Yeah.
Well, that was nice. But we do need to talk about them.
Well, you'll talk about my next door neighbour.
Well, you beckoning them across the road, really.
What are these crossing?
Yeah, that's good, Tony. That's good.
And turning right.
Yeah, please take next turning on the right, please.
Stop on the left.
Yes, stop on the left.
Stop, yeah.
Oh no, can't stop on the... Yeah.
Parking stop here. So okay to block that drive?
Yeah, for a few minutes it'll be okay. Don't worry about that for a few minutes. Yeah. Okay, so Tony, at that junction where
Yeah.
the pedestrians there,
Yeah.
you waved them across the road.
I did, yeah.
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 What would you say is the safety problem with that?
I think it gets them out of the way because sometimes they stand there and you never know what they're doing.
No.
So solve the situation, take control of it, wave them across, they're gone.
Yeah. So, with you waving them across, did they think that it was safe to go?
They didn't cross anyway, did
Yeah.
they? But yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So what if there was if they did cross and there was another driver turning into that junction who wasn't expecting them to cross?
Oh, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually waved them into safety.
Yeah, you've waved them into. You could potentially wave them into a dangerous situation because you can't really control what other drivers are going to do.
But you can actually wave pedestrians on at a pedestrian crossing, can't you?
No, not even then. You can't. No.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
People have waved me across
Yeah.
loads of times.
Yeah. So imagine that you've stopped at a zebra crossing,
Yeah.
and you wave, and the pedestrians on the right-hand side. You're waving them across, but there's a car coming in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure they're going to stop?
No.
No. But the pedestrians may think you waving them across means that they're safe to go across.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
So what should you really do?
Let them make their own minds up.
Yes, absolutely, and you know, they're more likely to look both ways then as well.
I get you. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
never ever wave
I didn't know that. Sorry.
pedestrians across. No, okay, just as long as you remember for the future, because it
Yeah.
could be a dangerous sort of thing to do.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and it's a similar sort of thing with flashing your headlights as well to get either another driver or a pedestrian to cross the road. It's a similar sort of thing.
No, I never do that.
No. Right, okay, so never flash your lights for that reason either. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay then, Tony, well, when you're ready, shall we
drive on,
continue? Drive on.
I'll give a signal now. Turning left.
At the end of the road, turn left, please.
Lights on in that car.
Yeah, good thinking. You
Door
don't
could
know what
open, a really good driver.
Yes, yeah, well spotted.
see beacons around the corner there. So I know there's a crossing just after I turning left.
Yeah, that's good. What do I get to let's turn it left?
Oh, I won't wave them across.
No, you don't.
Don't make his own mind up. I'll be at the crossing.
That's good. The way you're using your mirrors all the time.
Right. Am I going to turn left?
The traffic lights turn left.
I think they're my strong point, aren't they?
They are. They're really solid. They're really good.
Everything else is rubbish, but it's a strong point.
No, it's all pretty good.
Oh, thank you. You're just saying that, aren't you? Trying to get the right side of me. You're not putting your prices up, eh?
It's what, sorry?
You're not putting your prices up today, are you?
Oh, I could do.
I want 7 days notice.
Yeah, he's pressed the button, but you wouldn't know because the box is facing the
There's
other
no
way.
zigzag lines here, though, is there?
There aren't. No. That's because this is a crossing that a pedestrian crossing that doubles as one for the actual crossroads as well.
Oh, so when my lights go green, I just have to make sure there's no pedestrians crossing the road, and
Oh yeah.
common
Yeah.
sense, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it
I'm
is,
beginning
yeah.
to get the hang of it now. It's hard to tell if they're going to cross or not, isn't it?
It is. You just have to take care and be ready to stop.
Is there any clues you can look for?
If they seem to be looking across the road, sort of getting closer to the pavement, if they're looking over their shoulder, just look at their general body language. You can often get a feeling as to whether they're going to cross or not.
Is it a good idea to try and make eye contact with him?
It is, yeah. It is.
I made eye contact with Doug, but he never looked at me.
Yeah.
The man.
Yeah.
I thought you said you wouldn't let park on the zigzag.
You're not.
I couldn't see that crossing.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's illegally parked, and the one on the other side as well was still on that zigzag.
I'm just going to stop on the left.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, we just come out of roll.
Yeah.
Have you any idea why I've stopped you?
No.
Well, what's the subject we're doing today?
Well, pedestrian crossings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you told me about the zigzags?
Well, I've told you that people can't, that you can't park on them,
Yeah.
and that you can't overtake within them.
Is there anything back there that you could have reinforced that with? That just happened.
Yeah, I mean, I could have said with that parked vehicle there, do you think that a pedestrian would be able to see us coming? And
Do you think it's a could be or it's a must be?
oh well, it's a must be.
It's really important to use things that happen on the road to reinforce. Yeah?
Right.
Because then I'm seeing it. Because I actually couldn't see what was happening on the left of that crossing, yeah?
Right.
It's really important to use what other people do on the road to reinforce learning, yeah?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, back in road.
Yeah. That's good.
I think he's going to press that button. That's a change. There it is.
That's good mirrors.
Now they'll go flashing amber next, won't they? I remember that from the brief last week. It did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can't remember. Do I have to wait till I go green?
If the crossing is clear, you can go across on the flashing amber, but only if it's
I couldn't
clear.
quite remember that from last week.
Yeah. When it's a flashing amber, you can go if the way is clear, if there's no pedestrians on the crossing.
But of course, if they go... Sorry about that. But of course, if they go green, I can go anyway, can I?
Once again, if the way is clear, if there's still someone on the crossing...
That's a picture of a bike again, look.
Yeah, that's right.
I have one of them at the station every night.
Yeah. So the picture of the bike, what does that mean to you?
It means that cyclists and pedestrians can use it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So do you know what that crossing is called?
I think two lots of people can use it, so that might be the one that I've read about called a toucan.
Yes, it is.
I'll have a look when I get my
yeah.
my
Well,
highway code back.
that's exactly what it is.
Or my
called,
new
yeah.
highway code.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. It is called a toucan crossing.
But pedestrians are more dangerous, aren't they?
I would say cyclists are on those because they appear a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, I come across quickly. I'm in 5th gear as I come out of the station.
Right. Yeah. So if a cyclist is going to appear more quickly than a pedestrian, then
I get you.
there's a greater risk.
Turning right at the end.
At the end of the road, turn right, please. Good mirrors and signal.
Oh, thanks. Get rid of one. I can see it's clear. Turn left at the right.
At the roundabout, turn left.
Let's bear off to the left at the roundabout.
Yeah. heard about the equestrian crossing as well?
Am I going to turn right?
Take next turning on the right, please.
I think you mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
It actually came to mind today because it's Grand National Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's to do with horses, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I should
yeah.
imagine there's loads of them in Liverpool.
Yeah, I've never been there, so I don't know, but
No,
you could be
right.
right. So you'll often see a second control box a little bit higher up the pole, and that's so that people can press the buttons without dismounting from their horse.
Right. It's probably the horse I backed last year in the Grand National. It's probably still out there.
Right.
Traffic lights turning right.
Oh, the traffic lights turn right.
Sorry?
You wouldn't have gone over them because
No.
you gave them lots of room.
Yeah, they frighten me.
Yeah.
I'm meant to carry two people on a single bike, eh?
No.
You're meant to get a tandem, aren't you?
You're supposed to, yeah.
I had one of them when I was married.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Bicycle made for two.
Yeah, until I found out that my wife was cheating. She wasn't pedalling at the back.
Oh.
One of my so knackered at the end of
Yeah.
every journey.
Right. Must have got you nice and fit though.
Sorry?
Must have got you nice and fit.
Roundabout straight on.
And the roundabout goes straight on. And what can you see just beyond the roundabout?
I see a controlled crossing.
Yeah. That's right.
Scanning.
Good.
And it was a toucan as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
And straight on.
Mini roundabout, follow the road.
I see zigzag lines, but the lights are covered.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the pedestrian crossing isn't in use at the moment.
So I just ignore it.
I imagine that you would still not be able to stop on those zigzag lines. I imagine that.
No, I mean, if the pedestrian's standing there, you just ignore them.
Oh no! If they are standing there and someone who wants to cross there, just treat them as if they're trying to cross the road, not at a crossing, because it's not a crossing there, because it's not in use. So just keep your eye on them, but you don't have to stop for them.
So they can cross anywhere, really, yeah?
Well, they can do, yes. They can cross anywhere, and they do cross.
Yeah, because I do, because I haven't got a pedestrian crossing in my road.
No, well, you have to cross the safest possible place in that case, then.
Yeah, I always use my green cross code.
Yeah, well, that's very good, yeah.
And we're going to turn right into the garage.
Turn right into the garage, please.
Just make sure that one's How'd I do?
That was really good. I think we learnt a lot about pedestrian crossings. When we first started the lesson, I asked you to rate yourself on 1 to 10 on pedestrian crossings, and I think you said a 2 then, didn't you?
Yeah.
So if I ask you the same thing now, what rating would you give yourself?
Probably about a 2.5.
It's gone up a bit, not as much as I thought that it would do. Why do you feel that it's still that low?
I didn't feel that I was doing all of them on my own.
Right. Was I giving you too much input?
Well, I come out of roll, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting the hang of them, wasn't I?
You were, yeah.
Is it important that the pupil and the instructor are fully aware of their responsibilities at all times, yeah?
Yes.
So, if you could see I was getting the hang of it, could you have pulled me over and had a little chat me?
Yeah, I could.
What could you have said to me?
I could have said that you're getting the hang of it, and would you like me to sort of not talk you through them as I had been doing, not prompting you, because you were doing it on your own. You were looking in the mirrors and scanning all by yourself, so I could have pointed that out and said, would you like less input from me now or something?
Yeah, so what you could have done, as you say, pull me over, and you scaled me at the beginning, and you're scaling me at the end. Could you not have scaled me halfway through when you felt that it looked like I was getting the hang of it?
Yeah.
And then, based on my answer, ask me how much help I want from you now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right.
And if I said, oh, I'll have a go on my own, well then obviously you'd have to make it clear to me that if I do anything dangerous or whatever, that you have got the dual controls, or you can take the steering wheel, or you can give a verbal command and we'd pull over and talk about it afterwards. You'd have to make that statement again, yeah?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. We've been running over an hour. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I would have realised at the end of the lesson, it would have been a lot clearer in my head that I got nearer to my aims and objectives.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Are you not doing that with your students?
No, perhaps I'm not doing that enough. No.
Yeah, it's
And I tend to scale them right at the beginning and at the end. And they do seem to always feel that they have improved during that lesson.
but it's that level of responsibility. If you look at what the sheet says, was the trainer and the pupil fully aware of their responsibilities at all times? Well, at all times I felt that I was going to get a talk through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There would have just been the icing on the cake if you'd have said, pulled me over and asked me how I felt, and then asked me how much help I required from you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about your knowledge concerning pedestrian crossings?
I think it's okay. Yeah. Do you think it's lacking a bit?
Well, don't forget it's me who asked the question, so you got to be fair and answer. Yeah.
Right.
I'll answer your questions, you answer mine. Yeah. Do you think there was any bits that you could have improved on there?
I don't think I mentioned about the puffin crossings that the traffic light sequence is like normal traffic lights, and you don't get the amber flashing phase. Did I mention that? I can't remember.
No.
I did. No.
I brought it up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Do you think it's important to cover that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's there are two different kinds of light control. There's the pelican and the puffin. The pelican's being phased out now, so we won't see that amber flashing phase. So yeah, I think
we still have them at the moment. They're still in the highway code.
Yeah.
And there is a new crossing coming out that's not in the highway code, which obviously I didn't mention today because it's not in the highway code yet. It's called a tiger crossing.
Right. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's an uncontrolled crossing, which gives cyclists the opportunity of riding across either side of it within the confines of the crossing. Yeah. As I say, it's only been trialled I think in 2 cities so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only saw a couple of pictures on Facebook.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what about the beckoning and pedestrians across?
Yeah.
Do you think you could have stopped that happening?
What stopped you doing it in the first place?
Well, what would have stopped me doing it in the first place?
What would have stopped you?
Do you want help?
Yeah.
Well, what information did you give me after I'd done it?
explained why pedestrians shouldn't be beckoned across, and explained the dangers of it.
That's all right. Now, if I ask you the same question again, how could you have stopped me doing it?
Perhaps when I was initially talking about zebra crossing, uncontrolled crossings, I could have mentioned it then to say, you stop at the zebra crossing and you wait for the pedestrians to cross, but you don't ever beckon them across. I could have mentioned it then at an earlier stage when I was initially talking about uncontrolled crossings.
Yeah. We did go down roads where there was no crossings, and I wasn't being overtaxed by loads of things happening. Would it not be an idea to get information in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned it on the brief at the end of the last week's lesson.
Yeah.
But briefs tend to go in one ear and out the other once that engine starts, doesn't it?
Right.
We were a little bit long in the car park at the beginning. You need to consolidate it a bit more, yeah?
Right.
I want to get out and get practice, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just need to tidy that bit up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
generally, how would you score yourself today then?
Myself, yeah, I possibly a 6, maybe. I mean, there's still a lot there that I need to put into place, but I think it's gradually improving. But I can see there's still quite a bit to do.
What can you do to develop yourself a little bit more? Develop your skills, especially in relation to pedestrian crossings.
Well, apart from reading about them in the Essential Guide and the Highway Code, of course, perhaps, when I'm driving around, perhaps on my own, be talking about them, perhaps do some commentary driving and talking about them as though I was sort of talking to a learner, possibly.
Has your trainer done any videos on pedestrian crossings?
Oh, you have, yeah. There are a few that you've got on your website, so I could watch a few of those.
Would have been worth a look, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
You might pick up a snippet of information here and there, couldn't it?
Yeah, I could do.
Yeah?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I do that.
But very brave of you to go on video today. Yeah. Yeah, when I made the mistake at the traffic lights, with the wheels fully turned to the right, I got you to turn me left immediately because I knew you were looking for somewhere to pull me over.
Yeah.
Check with the pupil that do they need a lesson change plan, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it may be something that worries them.
Yeah. Right.
Any questions?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, I'll give the cameras a pause before you come out with any words that you shouldn't do. Not that you've ever sworn at me once, George.
I don't do that.